we got a lot of news to go over in terms of this News of the Week Wednesday edition. And before you ask, I already did a single video about the biggest move of this offseason with Chicharito going to the Galaxy on Tuesday. And I also did a single video talk about the most shocking deal of this offseason, which is Julian Gressel going to DC United. So if you guys want to hear my opinion in those deals, you can of course check out of the video that I've just done on this channel. It's actually the last two videos that I have done. But let's talk about some of the other news that happened this week, because besides those two big news that happened this week that dominates the headline, we also had some news that kind of dominates the headlines. And the first news that I'm going to be talking about is kind of a little bit sad, because, you know, whenever I have to talk about injuries, it's definitely not a good thing to talk about. But especially talk about injuries before the season starts, that's when it sucks even more. And for TFC, unfortunately, they are not going to be having Michael Bradley, as he will be out for 4 months after undergoing knee surgery. He, of course, suffered that ankle injury back in that MLS Cup game against Seattle, and it seemed like it's just too serious for him to kind of just rehab it, so now he's going to have to undergo knee surgery. And yeah, this is definitely a big loss for TFC. Although, I will say this, in some way, this is kind of a little bit of a blessing in disguise, because now they can, of course, get a couple of young guys that replace Michael Bradley's spots, or those guys that they think eventually would replace Michael Bradley's spots there, a chance to kind of shine. So, guys like Liam Fraser, who looked to be a very promising player in Bradley's spot, he's going to get the starting role for at least 4 months. And the other thing that I think it's a blessing in disguise is the fact that now it seemed like the silver lining of TFC not winning MLS Cup is even bigger than before. Because you know how I said the silver lining of TFC not winning MLS Cup is that at least they don't have to pay Michael Bradley $6 million, and that they have to activate one of the weirdest contract extension where, you know, if Michael Bradley and TFC win MLS Cup, then TFC will have to pay him $6 million. And if TFC would have won MLS Cup, which would be a great thing for them to win, but that means they're going to have to pay Michael Bradley $6 million, and that for half of the season he will not be available, and that's going to be a huge waste of money to do it. So I guess that's another big silver lining in terms of not winning MLS Cup. I mean, I know obviously TFC fans are still kind of sad the fact that they came so close of winning another MLS Cup, but hey, at least you avoid paying a whole bunch of money in terms of paying a guy that is aging and also is not going to be playing for your team for half of the season. Mesut Ozil is reported to head to DC United in 2021, and this is just one of those rumors where I just kind of just move on and look at the next news, because really, we've been talking about Mesut Ozil coming to MLS for what, the last couple of months and pretty much this entire offseason, and none of the time we have even getting close to a point where it looked like there's a deal that has been reached with a MLS team that they're going to get Mesut Ozil. And especially, they said that they are reported to get him in 2021. We're not even in the 2020 season. The season hasn't even started, and yet there's already report that this is going to be something that's going to be happening in the next offseason. I mean, anytime when I hear news that talk about players that's going to be signing in the next offseason, 99 out of 100 times that will not happen, and I won't be surprised if this is just something that tried to kind of entertain fans and say, ooh, Mesut Ozil, a very big European star name, potentially come to MLS, and then you realize that he's probably not going to be coming until next season. Although I will also say this, is that his contract at Arsenal is going to end next year, so maybe this could happen, and maybe an MLS team like DC United might think about getting him. I mean, when you look at DC United and what they have already done in this offseason on the attack, I don't know if they really need Mesut Ozil. I mean, they already have a very decent attacking core with just so many big signings that they have done to improve the attack, that I don't necessarily think they need to have Ozil, and that I won't be surprised if he is actually going to be going to somewhere besides DC United. Now, Atlanta United, this week, obviously they were in the news mainly of the whole Julian Gressel situation, where I'm pretty sure a lot of fans are pissed off about the fact that Atlanta decided to trade Julian Gressel to DC United. And even the ownership kind of acknowledged the fact that, yeah, we knew this was going to piss fans off, but we just got to do it because we want to free up some space. And I also talk about how I'm kind of stunned the fact that that is the case. Now, this news, unfortunately, will not help the situation, and maybe this news, you could say, could be a little bit of an insult to injury, but Atlanta decided to acquire Adam Jahn from Phoenix Rising. Yep, that's the same Adam Jahn that played with the San Jose Earthquakes, and that he was regarded as one of the worst striker at the Quakes, and even at Columbus, when he got traded from the Quakes, he was also pretty awful. He had a decent season at Phoenix Rising, but, you know, I'm pretty sure a lot of players on that team had a decent season because they were considered like the LAFC of USL. And I don't know if Atlanta getting him is going to be something that fans are going to be excited. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're still very pissed off of the fact that they just got rid of one of their fan favorite to a team that I won't say they're kind of a rival to, but more of a team that always tends to beat them and tends to be a team that Atlanta struggle in the league. So yeah, I mean, unless if Atlanta decided to get a big signing done in this offseason and trying to clear up all that space for to get a big signing, then maybe that's why they decide to get rid of Julian Gressel. But what also doesn't make sense is that they're only getting rid of him because they need to free up some cap space. They're not getting rid of him because they don't have like enough international spots so that they can of course keep signing big name young South American player to their team. No, it's just kind of get rid of cap space, and that, you know, again, I'm kind of stunned by this deal, and I feel like as much as there's been a little bit of an unrest in terms of the contract situation with Julian Gressel and Atlanta, I never thought that Atlanta was never going to re-sign him, and that he was going to go to another club. And that if he does go to another club, I wouldn't think that it would be an MLS club, and that I thought Atlanta eventually was going to sell him off to Europe for a profit. One guy that is also going to be leaving this week is Roman Alessandrini. And unlike the Julian Gressel leaving of Atlanta United, and that he of course the fans are kind of a little bit sad that he's leaving, and a little bit angry that one of their fan favorites is leaving. I don't think that will be that much of a case for Galaxy fans. I mean, I'm pretty sure Galaxy fans knew Alessandrini time was done with the Galaxy, and especially when Chicharito was coming to the Galaxy, they had to free up a DP spot because they were already over the maximum DP spot that they have, and it seems like they're just gonna have to sacrifice one of them, and probably the one that they're going to sacrifice is going to be Alessandrini. I mean, Alessandrini, I think a couple of months ago, and even going back to last season, there was a lot of people talk about for sure that he was going to go because they were going to get Christian Pavone to go to the Galaxy, and that it seemed like Alessandrini is going to be that player that the Galaxy is going to be sacrificing his DP spot in order to get Pavone to there. But somehow the Galaxy found a loophole to not only get Pavone on a sweet deal, but also on a deal that is not a DP contract. And obviously heading into this season, I have no doubt that Pavone is going to be a DP. I know on the Galaxy roster, they still says that they have 2 DP spot that is filled up. One of them is Jonathan Dos Santos. The other one is the most recent signing of Chicharito. But I have a feeling they're going to make Pavone their third DP because of the way that, you know, they're thinking about. If they're going to keep him, there is no doubt that they're going to have to pay some DP amount of money to get him. And that just kind of leave Alessandrini as kind of the low man out, and that I'm pretty sure they've been already thinking about getting rid of him, and that this is exactly the time to do it. And I guess, you know, like I said, I don't think Galaxy fans are a little bit upset about this. I think they're just kind of sad that one of their fan favorites have to leave, but it's because they're bringing some new batch of player, and that Alex Andrini was part of this old core of the Galaxy that just kind of have to move on. Oh, man. Speaking of DP, Minnesota are looking to try to get a DP, and I've been hearing throughout this week that there have been a rumor talking about they were going to finally get some attacking threats and finally getting an attacking central or getting a DP central attacking mid and maybe a French center back. And it seemed like that DP central attacking midfielder might be Boca Junior attacking midfielder Emmanuel Renault. So, and from what I heard about him, he is a very talented player. I mean, anytime when you have a talented player from Boca Junior, whether if they're a regular starter or not, you definitely are going to have to keep an eye on him, and that you definitely think that he is going to be a decent player. And I really hope this deal will work because, say many times before, the Loons, they really need to try to improve their attacking threat. I mean, I know recently they have finally started to sign a couple of midfielder and a couple of goalkeeper, but really, the thing that we desperately need right now is some attacking threat, and getting Emmanuel Renault, so I think he could be not only the biggest signing for Minnesota, but I think he could be the guy that is going to pull the string and maybe even score a couple of goals for us. Because another question with this Loons team is that, yes, if we do get Emmanuel Reynoso and we do get that creative attacking midfielder, who is he going to give the ball to? Like, you are hoping that, who's still going to be we still need a player that needs to lead the line. And as I said before, I have nothing against Angelino Rodriguez and Mason Choi, but do I really trust them to really at least be the goal scorer of this team, and that Emmanuel Reynoso will be kind of the creative player that gives to some of our striker, that is Angelino Rodriguez and Mason Choi, and hope that they of course will be that factor. I don't know. Like, I definitely feel like we still need to get a striker, but at the same time, getting a central attacking midfielder and improving this attack is a start in terms of trying to kind of fix this problem of this team not able to score a ton of goals. Now, Minnesota have also got a midfielder, because it seemed like for the last couple of signings they've been trying to get midfielder, and they actually acquired Jacori Hayes from FC Dallas in exchange for third round pick to Dallas. And I'm kind of surprised Dallas let him go, because I think he is, I wouldn't say he's a regular starter, but he could be a good depth piece in your team, and that I'm kind of surprised FC Dallas just virtually let him go with nothing, and that now Minnesota is going to get a guy that I'm pretty sure he's not going to be a regular starter, but he is a good option to have off the bench. And I keep thinking that, why in the world do the Loons decided to just stack up their midfielder, and why do we always try to get as much midfielder as possible, even though our primary concern is the attacking end? Then I realized that, two of our starting midfielder in Jan Gregush and Robin Laird is European. And since the Euros is going to be happening this year, and since both of them most likely is going to be going to the Euros, that's why we probably need to stack up the midfield, because there's going to be a month or two where we are not going to have him, and that, getting guys from to kind of play behind them and kind of behind them in the depth chart will really help, and especially getting these guys that are proven to come off the bench and do well, trying to come off the bench, either covering a starters that has been injured or they're on international duty. I think this is definitely a great idea for what the Loons are doing. But the most important thing that I hope the Loons can continue to do is sign more attacking threat, because we absolutely need more attacking threat on this team. Dallas themselves acquire Franco Jara from Pachuca as a designated player, and this is kind of a bit of a strange one, because they of course are going to get Franco Jara as a DP, but they're not going to get him until July. And it seemed like like he is going to, like right now his contract hasn't run out with Pachuca until the end of June, and that's the reason why he's not going to be arriving in the middle of the season. And we don't usually see a lot of these deals happen where we're going to get a player right now, but we know that he's not going to be coming here until the middle of the season. And I guess maybe the reason why Dallas want to get a striker is that, like the Loons, that is one of the biggest problem that Dallas is having, where they don't really have a goal scorer. But from what I heard from Liga MX fan and especially Pachuca fans, they said that he's not really that good. I mean, he used to be good, but he's kind of a little bit washed up, and I don't know if that's a great kind of reports in terms of getting a guy that is going to be your designated player. And just kind of hearing from fans from the last club that he played with says that he is not good enough anymore, and he's kind of a little bit washed up. But maybe this is just one of the case that he might need a change of scenery, and that I think Dallas, knowing that they've seen so many of these teams are trying to get some Liga MX talent to come to MLS, they kind of decided to copy the same thing and getting Franco Jara from Pachuca and hope that it will be the same success. And this is why I do kind of also warn teams that just because you decided to try to copy other teams' method in terms of getting players from the same league doesn't mean every single player that you get from the same league is going to produce very well. And in the FC Dallas case, I do kind of warn them about whether or not if Franco Jara is going to be that goal scorer that they vision it will be. And if Zinedine Odrąsic can be the goal scorer that he was with Dallas last season, I mean, I think Odrąsic has really been a guy that has really been the true goal scorer that Dallas has been looking for so long. And that if Odrąsic can continue that good form that he had last season, it's going to be interesting to see who Dallas decide to get once Jara does come to this team, and whether or not if they're going to either select Odrąsic leading the line or Jara, or maybe even both leading up the lines. RSL add free agent Ashton Morgan from TFC, and this is another interesting one because Ashton Morgan, he's been with TFC pretty much his entire career, and he's kind of a player that's been not really a starter, but more like a player that is kind of on the bench, but it's a good option to have off the bench. And he's also very well loved by TFC fans, so you can imagine TFC fans are kind of a little bit sad that this has to happen, and that one of their fan favorites will have to move on to another club. But I think as I said before, with some of this deal where teams are trying to get players that is good depth piece on their team, RSL, they definitely got a good depth piece in Ashton Morgan, and that he could definitely come off the bench and do very well with this team. The Red Bulls extend loans for Josh Sim until the end of June with an option to extend, or also known as an option to buy. And I won't be surprised if the Red Bulls decide to exercise that option, because Josh Sim did very well with the Red Bulls, and he was considered one of the more unknown kind of quality fullback that you have seen in this league, and one of the more upcoming fullback in this league. And I won't be surprised if he's going to have another decent season like he has when he comes to MLS, that Red Bulls is going to try to buy him. But just keep in mind, if they are going to try to buy him, most likely it's going to worth a lot. And I've heard people say that if they're going to buy him, this could potentially reach to a DP deal, which, if you're going to get a DP, one of the big rule of DP and one of the unwritten rule of DP is that you don't want to spend DP on fullbacks and backline. You usually want to spend DP in terms of midfield or attacking player, but on the defensive side, you don't see a lot of teams does that, because a lot of teams aren't going to just spend so much money to just focus on their fullback when they could have also spent on some attacking player. And especially MLS is now a league where teams are focused more on attacking talent. Yeah, getting a DP, getting a fullback as your TB is not a great idea. The Vancouver Whitecaps re-signed Eric Godoy to a permanent transfer, and just like Josh Sims that I said, he's kind of an upcoming fullback in this league. The same can said about Eric Godoy. I really enjoy how he played with this Whitecaps, despite the fact that team last season was kind of a crash and burn. But yeah, it's good that they, of course, complete a permanent transfer and that they get a good kind of fullback in Eric Godoy that's going to continue to improve his game and continue to be a decent kind of player. But moving on, the Seattle Sounders report that they are acquiring Argentine club Santa Fe center back Yema Gomez Andrade. I think that's how you pronounce. Although this news actually should have says Argentine club Santa Fe actually announced that their center back Yema Gomez Andrade is going to be going to the Seattle Sounders. And if this report is correct that this Argentine club has announced that he's going to go to Seattle, that is great news for the Sounders, because the Sounders are just so desperate to try to look for a center back that I think this could be a good player to replace them, and that, you know, we shall see whether or not if this deal is going to get done very soon. But finally, in terms of this news of the week, we are always going to have a news of the week. Well, mostly in news of the week that talks about Inter Miami, because, you know, it isn't a news of the week when we don't talk about what Inter Miami has done during these last couple of days. And in these last couple of days, Inter Miami has named their shirt sponsor, and they are set to name Qatar as their shirt sponsor. And it's not Qatar Airways that I believe Barcelona currently have as their shirt sponsor, or actually I think that's the old shirt sponsor that Barcelona has. I think right now they have Rakuten as their shirt sponsor, but it's actually just simply Qatar, and I'm guessing it's just kind of a shirt sponsor to promote the upcoming World Cup that is going to be in this country. And the Quakes themselves have also named a shirt sponsor, and they named Intermedia as their shirt sponsor. And originally I have no idea what Intermedia is. I had to go to Google to search up what it is, but apparently it is a cloud-based tech company in Sunnyvale, and I don't understand why. I have heard a lot of people say that, you know, Quakes fans are not happy with this sponsor because, you know, it's a no-name kind of sponsor, and they don't know if it's going to do well. And especially when you look at the image of the kit that has the sponsor on it, a lot of people said that it is ugly. But for me, I don't think it's that ugly, and that I feel like, you know, this is the thing with Quakes fan. You know, they've been trying to pray the team to get a shirt sponsor and hope that one of the tech company in Silicon Valley can sponsor the team. And now all of a sudden, these same Quakes fan that begs this to happen are now complaining the fact that well, this tech company has sponsored our team, but we don't like it because we never heard of. I mean, what did you expect? Did you expect Google to sponsor the Quakes or Apple to sponsor the Quakes? I mean, I don't know. I just kind of find it a little bit annoying with people, with some of our fans in our fan base saying this. I mean, it's almost like there's a no-win situation where, you know, we're begging that this is a tech company that will sponsor the Quakes in terms of their jerseys, but we're also begging at the same time that it's not kind of like a no-name kind of sponsor. You know, the bottom line is, the way I look at this is, as long as the Quakes have a shirt sponsor, and as long as if Intermedia can give some good profit to the Quakes, where, you know, that will of course generate revenue, that hopefully the Quakes ownership for once do the right thing and not actually just pocket that as some of their sum and actually use that same money to invest in the squad. I'm fine with that. Now, going back to the Inter Miami shirt sponsor with Qatar, I know a lot of people are not happy about that because, you know, when you're sponsoring a country that has a lot of human rights abuse, and definitely a country that is going to be hosting one of the most controversial World Cup that we will ever have, yeah, a lot of people are not going to be happy about that. But I'm guessing maybe Qatar probably pay pay Inter Miami and especially David Beckham a ton of money so that they can slap their logo onto their shirt, that I feel like maybe David Beckham just didn't want to say no to that, and that's why he decided to pocket that change, and that now Inter Miami does have Qatar on their shirt. And I'm going to be interested to see how it's going to look, because again, Inter Miami, their sponsor Qatar is not the same as Qatar Airways that used to be a shirt sponsor for Barcelona. It's just simply Qatar, and that from the pictures that I've seen, it seemed like they're just promoting the upcoming World Cup that they are going to have in that country. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash that subscribe button. Let me know in the comments below what do you think of these news, and let me know in the comments also if there's any other news that I miss on this board that you want me to react to. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.